You know what's weird about being an only child with divorced parents? You kind of wonder. You kind of wonder if there's anybody else out there. I asked my dad one time because a little background about my dad. He was in the Royal Lao Army. He fought alongside the U.S. During the Secret War in Vietnam, the war that never happened and eventually happened sometimes later. But before that, I guess he was a bard, or that's the best way to put it. Is he was a traveling singer, and he would go to like festivals and what have you, and he would sing on stage. And I think there was a video. I saw one video. I remember seeing him singing on stage, and I just thought that was weird because that was my dad. And so he's traveling from town to town singing, and you kind of wonder like he was a handsome dude. He was a handsome. Singing was awful. I mean, you've heard Asian guys singing on karaoke. That's pretty much what it sounded like. So like he looked like an M3, but sounded like a Chevy Volt or something. But so as an only child, I kind of wondered. One day, I asked him like, "Dad, be honest with me." After I found out that he was a traveling singer, like, do I have any brothers or sisters that I don't know about? And he just looks at me. He has his trademark laugh. He just and then he walks away. And that was my answer. I every single time I've asked him, I've never gotten a clear answer. And so I'm just guessing. I told my wife Mary this. I'm like, at his funeral, like we're going to be there. We're all going to be, mourning him, and then there'll be these other people showing up, and come to find out they're like, my brothers and sisters or something like that. And I just thought that would be the most hilarious thing ever because, my dad's a very handsome dude, and obviously he passed those charming good looks down to his other sons, not me. But anyways, welcome to the new format of Chasing Chantavisuk. This is how it's going to be going forward. Because to be honest with you, I probably don't have many more traumatizing stories of my childhood. And so we're just going to try to keep things current. I'll still keep the stories going. And obviously, I'm still talking to Alex as if I'm talking to him from beyond the grave. But this is how it's going to be. I got a new mic. Let me know how that sounds, too, by the way. No longer using the Razer headsets. Just going to be using my HyperX SoloCast, which I think sounds pretty good. I can actually move around now. It does pick up a fairly decent amount of sound, so once in a while you might hear my squeaky chair. But that's about it. New Instagram. The new Instagram is Chasing Chantavisuk. Obviously, that makes the most sense. Picked up a few new listeners, by the way. So right now we currently have listeners in the United States, in Mexico, Brazil, strangely in Pakistan, and I just picked up a new listener coming out of Canada. So thank you for everybody who's been listening in the U.S., mostly out of New England and a lot from New York. West Coast people, we're looking at California and Washington. And gracias to my listeners in Mexico. Obrigado to my listeners in Brazil. Shukriya to the listeners in Pakistan. And thank you to the listeners in Canada. I mean, you guys took the time to listen. I can at least take the time to say thank you in your native languages. Or merci if you are from the Montreal province. But again, thank you for listening. Spotify has switched things up a little bit. Spotify kind of bought Anchor, which is the program that I used, and they're making it a little harder to track nowadays. So they track people who listen on Apple, on Amazon, on Google, but they only really care about the people who listen on Spotify. So, I mean, as it stands right now, most of my listeners, I got about 59% male and 40% female, and then we've got other. So just figured I'd give you guys a little insight as to how that works. And again, thank you for listening. So again, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you guys could know, I suppose. My birthday is coming up on Saturday, actually, May 13th. Legal birthday, as well as May 14th, but it's Mother's Day, so my wife's just going to steal that one from me. Boo. But yeah, as you know, if you listen to the previous episodes, my birthday is usually a very, very dark time for me. For those who don't know, I wasn't the only one born that day, but I was the only one that survived. And so I have I don't know, I guess you would say a guilt, a survivor's guilt, I guess would probably be the best way to put it. But usually around the holidays, around my birthday, or days where you would be spending with family, Christmas, Thanksgiving, what have you, I go into a very, very deep, dark depression. Thoughts creep up into my head, and I know that, I know not to give in to those impulses. Obviously, I attempted a couple, well, the big attempt was once, but I pushed through. I'm okay. I'm okay. I really am. Like, doing this podcast, at first I started out just, for Alex's sake. I just want him to hear my voice, to know about his past, know about his family, his history. But as I gotten deeper into it, more and more people have actually reached out and said that what I'm doing is actually helping them, which is fantastic. I mean, I'm glad me talking about my trauma, sitting here shirtless, don't ask, but talking about my trauma and, explaining how the process that I went through is helping other people. That's fantastic. I did not expect that, but I'm incredibly grateful that people have reached out and said that I am helping them. So that's really awesome. What else do I got going on? I have a family reunion coming up in July, so I have about 15 pounds to lose, as I would like to say. I like to call it reunion ready. So I got to get back to the gym. I mean, I'm turning 42. I should probably turn this boat around before it's too late, right? And so I'm going to be seeing a lot of family, which I'm incredibly grateful for. And I love my family. I talk about my family a lot. It's incredibly important to me. And I try to keep in touch with as many family members as I can. What I have done is about 2 years ago. No, actually, 3 years ago. I did the 23andMe thing. So I did the ancestry research, and it came back that I am 98% Asian and 2% North African. So I don't know how that works. Like, did one of my Asian cousins get freaky with somebody from Morocco or Algeria or something like that? But it's very strange. It says that it's North African, so more or less I probably don't get to use the word during my rap sessions. But I should probably start learning French, huh? Or I can learn Egyptian Arabic, one or the other, to get closer to my roots. But yeah, it's really cool finding out, like, I have other relatives out there. None of my other brothers and sisters that are out there. I have yet to find them, so maybe they're doing ancestry.com. I don't know, but I did find cousins, lots and lots of cousins. I think I have more cousins than the Inoue family does in wrestling, so that's fantastic. What's really strange about it is I actually got in contact with a lot of these cousins that I had, and some of them are like living very close, so I could have met them in passing, or we could have had mutual friends before we met, and I thought that was really, really cool. So I actually got in touch with them. I'm friends with them on social media. I'm friends with them on Instagram, so I do follow them, and I still have conversations to this day with them. What's cool about it is we're all so spread out. Like, I have one of my cousins, Zeke Montoya. Like, hey, shout out to Zeke Montoya. But like, I didn't think we would be related at any time. If you look at his picture, you look at my picture, I'm like, there's no way they're related. And yet, there we are. Like, it's such a strange thing that genetics. You travel the world and you spread your seed like your Johnny Appleseed, and all of a sudden you sprout out a new family member. Like I have family in Sweden, I have family in obviously in Laos still. I have lots of family in Canada. Most of them are in the United States, and there's some discrepancies there. I would say though, because I have had people who I've grown up with my whole life. My parents say, "Oh, these are your cousins. These are your family members. Treat them as if they were your family." And I did. Obviously, I grew up with them, so I grew very close with them. So yes, they are my family. And then I do the test, and I'm like, wait, we don't match at all. Like not even point 0.00009. Like, but that's perfectly fine because, to be honest with you, I mean, like sometimes I don't even get along with my blood family. Like family isn't always blood. Like you can't pick and choose your blood family, but you can pick and choose your actual family, and that's how I've grown to live. Like there are people who I trust more that aren't related to me than there are people who go, I have your blood. This is your uncle. This is your blah blah. And I don't care. Like there are certain people that I just choose not to relate to. There you go. Yeah, I can choose that now. Just like people can choose their religion, they can choose their orientation. Hell, Ariana Grande chose to be Asian all of a sudden. So shout out to my cousin Ariana Grande. But again, I can choose who my family is. There's a very, very tight circle. And yeah, I just want to say that. Like, brothers and sisters, great, but you don't have to talk to them. And so, again, going back to my dad, who is my absolute hero. He was the basis of, I guess, what I would based off being a great dad was all about. He always had a sunny disposition. He was never really like angry or anything like that. And unfortunately, I didn't pick that up because I'm angry all the time. But according to my family, but like, no matter what hardship he faced, again, walking home from school, like we faced, Ruth calling us ching chong, like, and that hurt me as a kid. I just knew that was hurtful. But my dad just looked at me, he rubbed my hair and everything was okay. And I, again, just thinking about like, what type of hardships has he faced because he doesn't speak English, but you can tell when somebody doesn't like you. And so I took that to heart. Just things are always going to work out in the end, I suppose, is the best way to put it. And like, if I were to compare, all the other dads out there, like my dad is pretty awesome. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. He was freaking awesome. And I don't think he ever laid a hand on me. He didn't have to. I just understood him. Like, it wasn't like psychological or anything like that. Like, he wasn't threatening to hit me or anything like that. He never even threatened to punish me. But when he did raise his voice, I knew, like, cut the shit out, And I think that's how I chose my path to be a father. Before we even had Alex, I like to think I was a great dad to like a bunch of other kids, like there were people I knew who had kids and their boyfriends or husbands and were just complete dicks and they weren't really good dads at all. And I stepped in and I'm like, I would take them out and like take them out, have ice cream, but just the stupid little things like that. But it meant a lot to the kid, and it meant a lot to me because I was learning. I wanted to be a father growing up. I knew I wanted to be a dad growing up, and I guess practice makes perfect, I suppose. But I mean, these kids were just kids. They didn't ask to be fatherless, I suppose, but I did everything I could to be a dad for them. And even the kids who did have like fathers, their fathers just weren't good. I suppose. I mean, I've been told this, like, you make a great dad, and so, growing up, I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a really really good dad. And then when Alex came along, I was ready. Well, no, I couldn't say I was ready. Ready. I mean, no one's ever ready to be a father. But when he came along, I was like, I got this. Like, my wife gave birth. Thanks for that. And you rest. I got this for now. And I did. I took care of Alex. Like, first couple weeks, it was just me. I was hands on. I didn't sleep. I was ready to go. I was super nanny. And like, that's the amazing thing about kids, is that they they are so forgiving for all your mistakes. Like, right now, Alex is 6 years old, and sometimes I would get mad, and I can't explain why I would get mad. Like, again, right, especially right about now, my temper is usually short. Don't get me wrong. I would never ever lay a hand on him, but I do get very very angry at him, and like, I'll send him to his room, or I've never really shouted at him, but I will be like very forthcoming, I guess, very strict and very firm with him. And I know it hurts his feelings. I could see that it hurts his feelings, and he would walk, into his room with his head down and what have you. And I would feel so, so bad about it as I sit there, because he's in his room and he's upset and I'm upset, and I'm more or less upset with myself. And then, it'll be a couple minutes. We'll both just be sitting in our own little spots. And then, he'll ask if he can come out. And yeah, obviously, he can come out. And the first thing he'll do is he'll just come up to me and give me a hug and goes, I love you, Papa. And again, that just makes me feel like even more of a dick, to be honest with you. But he, like, he's so forgiving. And that's the thing about kids, is you can mess up a lot. And like, they'll be so forgiving. They're so loving. And honestly, I wish I could have more kids. But I'm 42. I can't do it. I'm tired. I'm tired now. This is probably why I'm shirtless. I'm too tired to even put a shirt on after my shower. But, you know, again, if in my past, sorry about that, my phone went off. I talked about how I did not plan on living past 45. I was gonna check out, and believe me, I treated my body pretty badly. The drug use, with the physical abuse. I wouldn't. Well, I didn't cut myself or anything like that, but like, I had no fear. I would throw myself off of buildings, bungee jumping. Like, I didn't have a second thought about doing stupid things like that. And again, I was young. I was immortal, essentially. But nowadays, I have Mary, I have Alex, I have a close circle of friends that I can turn to when these type of thoughts happen. And I'm glad that someone pointed out that, like, oh man, you, like, I can't believe you said you tried to kill yourself, or I can't believe you, did a bunch of drugs, because you don't look like that type. You project a different, persona. And that's because I've been through that. I've been through all of that. I've attempted suicide. I've done a bunch of drugs. I've never OD'd on anything, but, I got through it. I've had friends who committed suicide, and I've gotten through it. I've gone to the other side. I've broken through, and I came back. And so now I see everything in a different light. I see, as my dad does, he's been a POW. He's been shot at. He's shot at other people. He's probably killed people. And so when you go through those type of things and you come back, you see things in a different light. And so, Alex is like that. Going back to him, he's great. And because growing up as a kid, you want to be the hero of your own story. You want to be like Superman, you want to be like Batman. But I became Alex's hero. I became his Superman. I became his Batman. And so, I just want to say in closing, like, you may not be the hero of your own story, and that's perfectly fine. But one day, you're going to be the hero that you needed to be for someone else. And I think that's the key takeaway to the way I'm currently living my life. Is, yeah, I had great expectations for my life growing up. As a kid, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. I wanted to do all this, and I chased that dream. I became a professional wrestler. Not a very good one, but I became a professional wrestler. I got paid. So when that happened, I had no direction after that. And so, I try to fill that void with all these other things. But at the end of the day, when I became a father, that was the answer for me. Alex sees me as his hero. Like, I can do no wrong. I can do everything. And so, being 42, coming up on that 45 number, it's a little worrying. And I think, you know, I think I can live past 45, but who knows nowadays. But I am trying my best to reverse the course that I took as a kid. Oh, yeah, a dumb kid. So I am trying to work out a little bit better. I'm trying to eat a little bit healthier. Not doing a very good job in that because my 6-year-old doesn't finish his chicken nuggets. And I'm like, ooh, chicken nuggets. But, ooh, I'm sorry, that's spiked. But, yeah, I'm trying my best. So I think that's the best we can do. Just look out for each other, love one another, or as you would say in Lao, hakkan pankan. And so just want to say in closing, thank you guys again for listening. Spotify has made it really, really hard to get listeners nowadays. So I would really, really appreciate it if you can share this podcast, like it, give it a review on Apple. 5 stars only. Otherwise, I will send you very, very angry pictures of Alex staring at you. So again, I want to say I appreciate you guys for listening. That's about it. Next week, I will be 42 years old. Hopefully, I have pants on next week, but we'll find out. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.